stop. Daisy, that's not very ladylike. This is Daisy, and she is very excited, and she wants this treat. So I'm going to basically show a what I call a focus exercise. Now again, don't let her jump up on you. If she jumps up on you and you don't disagree, then you're saying that that's okay. And that kind of is an indication that she doesn't respect you as an authority figure. In this case, I don't think it's that. I think she's just so excited she's just trying to get close. Now because these are little dogs, I'm splitting these in half. These are rich treats. I don't want to give them diarrhea or also ruin their dinner. So if we just split them in half, you can kind of make twice as much mileage. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to put all of them in this hand except for one of them in this hand. I'm going to hold it between my thumb and forefinger. I want to be able to deliver it to the dog's mouth right away. Now I'm going to go and put them in fists right here on my shins, or my thighs, excuse me. I'm waiting for the dog to look at me in the face. Now of course the dog's going to go straight to where the scent is strongest. And so she's going to try to take it from my hand. That's not going to work. I'm just going to wait. As soon as she looks up at me in the face, then I'm going to actually give her the treat. Focus. It was just a fraction of a second she was looking at me, and that's why you have to be hyper vigilant the first couple of times you're doing it. All right, so let's try this again. Focus. So I'm not luring her, I'm rewarding her when she looks at me. That was a little bit faster. Oh. Now sometimes the dog's running around, I'll do a leash like I have the cameraman doing right here, but I prefer them to be free. So this is one we might want to do with the dogs one at a time. So she got a little frustrated. She didn't get it, so she lost interest. Focus. Immediately reload, immediately grab another one after you do this. Focus. Now, if she doesn't look for a long time, you could do things like blow or make a sound. I'd prefer not to. And once they've done this enough, it's a little bit, they start figuring it out. Some dogs do better. I like the dog to be at knee length, so I'm having my feet off to the side. Some dogs do better if you're actually sitting. So kind of, I add more, there we go. Focus. Orientation of looking up at you when we're on the floor. Yes. This is not that type of film. Daisy. Sit. Sit. Focus. 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 Now I'm going to explain here in a second. I just want to put a couple more practices in how you can use this. She's got an interesting stripe on her tongue. Now you see she got really excited to focus. Sometimes they get themselves all worked up and then they kind of blow their wad, so to speak. That's probably not the best analogy to use, but they expend all their energy and then they kind of are a little bit of a deficiency. Focus. Sit. So I want you to imagine there's a tunnel of vision going between her eyes and my eyes. So the first thing I'm going to do when she looks at me is I'm going to go into that tunnel by raising the treat straight up, so it's about half distance between my head and hers. Focus. So I don't want to go just like here to deliver the treat. I'm going to go up here and here. You see I'm keeping her looking at my face. And that's the whole point in this exercise. We're going to train the dog to look at us in the face. Here. Sit. On command. Now at first she doesn't know what it is. We've given her about 10 treats, but she doesn't know. Now she's being determined. Again, she's just trying to take it. Focus. 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 That was a great one. So 1 second for each movement. So after a while, what will happen is the dog is just going to pretty much you started seeing she was starting to look at me faster and faster. After a while, what you'll do is go 1 second, 2 seconds. Now when you do this, I have about 12 treats in my hand. I would grab like 6 and tear them in half, so you have about 12 to 15 treats. When you do this, you want to do this with each dog a couple times a day, but you want to sprinkle it out throughout the day. Dogs take what they learn and they categorize it in their mind when they sleep or nap. So if you practice with the dogs and then they take a little bit of nap and you practice again, they should have better recall of what they just learned and assimilated. So at first it's 1 second for all 12 treats, or 15 for each dog. And they might be at different speeds. After a while, what we do is 1 second, 2 seconds on the second movement only. And when we're doing this, we want the dog to continue staring at our face the whole time. So as you're doing this, you should be able to see the treat and your dog's eyes pretty much right mirrored on top of each other to hold the right position. So all 12 treats, 1 second, 2 seconds. And then we do that maybe 2 or 3 times, and then the next day, or next time we do it, maybe 1 second, 1, 2, 3 seconds on the second movement. We're gonna keep on doing this until we eventually get to 20 seconds on that second movement with the dog staring at you in the face. The idea for this is if you're walking down the street and you see another dog, and I understand that these dogs are reactive when they see other dogs, but the distance the other dog is going to impact things. If somebody comes up and says, hey, I'm going to punch you, but they're at the end of your block and they're standing there, you're going to think that's a weird person, but you're not particularly feeling threatened. If they're jumping up and down and they're like bashing windows with a baseball bat and I'm going to come and punch you, you're going to take a lot more notice of them because they're really much more animated. Dogs in the same way. If you run into a dog that's walking in a heel next to their guardian and is very calm, your dog's going to allow them to get a lot closer before they're reactive. If the dog's boisterous, they're going to be reactive at a greater distance. So what the idea is, you want to find out whatever distances your dog's going to react, and before it gets a chance to react, you're going to say focus. The dog's going to look up at you, and then you're going to be delivering the treat. Now, the idea is we're redirecting their attention away from whatever it is they're going to react to and creating a positive association. If I look at the human, instead of barking at the dog, gets me nothing because the dog still approaches. But if I look at the human, I get the treat. So when you practice, let me go through the instructions on how you're going to do this. You're going to practice it with each dog separately a couple times a day. Now do it in different parts of the house. If I only do it here, dogs don't generalize well. So if I only do it here, the dog will be able to do the exercise here, but not in that when I'm sitting in that chair. So make sure you do it in dining room table, kitchen, all over the house. Once you get to the point where you're 20 seconds for the dogs, no matter where you are in the house, the next step is to do it out in the backyard. Now when you do this in the backyard, make sure there's no other dogs barking, there's no squirrels. Outside is a lot more stimulus rich. So it's going to be easy for the dogs to lose focus. So that's why when we go back outside, we go to 1 second. And then go back, work our way back up to the 20 seconds, whatever intervals the dogs need. Once you get to the point where you can do it 20 seconds inside and outside the backyard, I would practice it in the front yard until you go back to 1 second, go all the way to 20 seconds in the front yard. Then when you're on the walk, so we're going to have a different rig than they're used to using, it'll give you more control. When you're on a walk, every once in a while, just say focus while you're walking. And as the dog looks up at you, you're going to continue walking, you're going to hold up the treat, and go, and at first just do try and make it 1 second. After a while, then you can go to 2 seconds and 3 seconds. Eventually, you'll work your way up to 20 seconds. Careful your finger. And the idea is we want to be able to help the dog practice focusing on us under progressively more challenging, more stimulus-rich scenarios until we get to a real-world scenario when the dog's walking across the street and you say focus and the dog looks up at you and goes for 20 seconds looking up at you instead of looking at the other dog. Now, until you get to that point, you're going to have times where you're walking the dogs and you're going to run into another dog, or a dog runs out in the street off a leash or whatever. So what I like to do is come up with a plan B. And my plan B in the short term is a turn exercise. So what I do is I'm walking, and I'll actually use Violet here. So as I'm walking, Violet, come here. Every once in a while, Violet, come here. I'll turn, and as I turn, I hold the treat and say turn as we turn. And then I would take a couple steps this way, then I would turn again, and give her another one, say turn, and then continue the original direction. So that you're doing this at first when there are no other dogs around. Because if you only turn when other dogs come around, it becomes associated. There's another dog there, and they're going to try to pull and go that way. So if you teach them that every once in a while the human just turns for no reason, takes 2 or 3 paces this way, then turns again, and then we go back to our original direction, that's just normal for them. So that way, if you run into a dog on the street or somewhere that you're not prepared for, you just immediately turn around and you got them out of sight. The dogs won't even think about it, and you stop them from reacting even before they have a chance to. Now, if your dogs are reacting, you want to increase the distance between them and whatever it is they're reacting to. Some dogs more visually acute, then you have to move them around a car or a shrub or a house or building. So, but you want to keep on increasing the distance until they can relax. If the dogs are worked up in that frenzy, the focus isn't going to work. Nothing's going to work once they're up what we call above threshold. So we have to practice below threshold, or what we call subthreshold. Now the idea is when we're doing this, eventually it'd be nice if we have somebody else that has another dog that can be in on this with us. So when they start walking towards us, we say focus, and the first couple times, if the dog loses his composure and can't focus, we can tell that person to stop, they stop, that dog is under our control as well. So again, we're gonna recreate the situation to help the dog practice so that we can control the elements, so we put them in position to succeed. Once they've succeeded enough times, then they'll continue to do the same way, operate the same way, even when it's a real world situation where you don't have control of that dog. All right, let's try this one more time. Violet, you are not the focus dog. As you can see, they have a good focus. Most people's dogs' focus works against them. This exercise will teach you how to get it to work for you. This is what I like to call the focus exercise.